So I'm reading Ben Horowitz's book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things. He's one half of Andreessen Horowitz, big VC fund in Silicon Valley. And he's all about talking about how you make this transition now and how you really try to instill that company culture. And if you don't do these things and get these managers right and get these, the EKRs and everything, then it's just not going to happen. And it's fascinating. He also is a big fan of having the founder and the CEO stay with the company and not to hire someone to scale. And I want to get your thoughts on that.
But that's happening less and less. Someone told me a stat recently that like how small a percentage of startups after 3 years actually have the sort of founder CEO.
Oh, keep it. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the ones that survive, right?
Right.
Probably a good 50% of those are dead.
Easy, yeah.
So it's tricky. I mean, I remember in that book you're talking about, the Horowitz book, he goes through a specific incident about swearing.
Yeah.
And whether they should allow swearing in
he swears a lot, and he got some complaints about it, and so they had a big meeting about it, right?
Yeah.
So tell the story.
Well, I mean, as far as I remember it, they determined that it was a part of the culture, and they wanted to keep it, and they were going to, they just wanted people to feel comfortable around the fact that there was going to be swearing. And I think, these are the kind of decisions that you need to make and just reinforce to the team. But what you need to do that's so important that people forget is you need to communicate them to new starters, right? Because that's what's so hard about it. So it's all very well for us to say, okay, the three of us are going to set up a business. We've got a corporate culture here. We're going to have to decide between, shirts and T-shirts for the three of us, right? So that's going to be tricky. But it's fine. We've made our decision. But what about number 4 who comes in the door? What about number 5? What about number 6? And I think, the bit that's often hardest about maintaining corporate culture is the reality that there's an in crowd and then there's new people. And you have to make sure that those new people feel comfortable.
Okay, so how do you do this? You're in a London tech startup market, in fintech no less, where everybody wants the talent. You've got to hire people in, you got to get the right people and instill corporate culture. How do you do it?
Yeah. These are the kind of questions that professors charge like £3,000 an hour to answer, right? So,
it's consultants?
So here we go. I mean, for me, it's about taking the time up front to explain the culture. And then, I'm not the greatest person when it comes to sort of making sure it's all written down and giving a handbook and being like, here, where you start. I think that should be done, absolutely. But, where I think personally I can add value and you need both sides of the equation is the pre-discussion, right? So in our company, the culture is very thoughtful, it's very intellectual, it's very discursive. It's about wanting to get to know the person next to you because they're very, very interesting, but they're not necessarily going to volunteer that information, right? So everybody looks out for each other. It's polite, it's clean, it's not, edgy, right?
Okay. No swearing?
No, not particularly.
Okay.
Not particularly.
Okay. But that you're saying this is kind of different than some startups, you're saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, we go around, but it's different from big companies as well. And we all know that, as soon as you walk in from one place or, to another, it's just a different way of doing things. But the atmosphere we wanted to create was where, no matter who it is, the most senior hire can go and have a drink or lunch, with the new intern who's come in, because we know that those people are going to be fascinating. We know that all of us are curious people. We know that, we're thinking about a mission which is really important. And, it's not about being crazy for us. It's about driving something forward that is really meaningful. And as corny as it may sound, it's changing people's lives. And the reality is we have changed people's lives over the last 3 years.
How can anybody sign up, publish an event, and start selling tickets in a matter of minutes? We love the notion of people gathering. We really thought about low friction. We want to be that cable TV of live experiences. We basically broke all the startup rules. It's fairly insane to go into a business venture with your fiance. My advice, to any 20-year-old or fledgling entrepreneur is to not listen to their parents. Do something really incredible.